Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And I don't feel very good today. I have been fighting a cold for over a week now, and when I wake up in the morning, I have literally no voice, and it takes me a couple hours to kind of get the day going. And so I got up this morning, and I did my meditations and did my prayers, and I was like, please, let me feel better. And I went and I got some coffee, and I drove around a little bit, and I was like, you know what? I think tonight I'm just going to lay low and watch some movies and go get some food to just kind of, you know, take care of myself a little bit. And I wanted to make some videos early and get those up. And so anyway, I was reading my meditation book, and there was one in there about self-care, and it's not really about physical self-care, but I do think that that's important too. And that is one thing that I'm not great at. You know, and it's something that I'm really good about telling others to do, to take care of themselves and to treat themselves well, you know, and all that kind of stuff, that you have to take care of yourself before, you know, you can be there for somebody else. But it's something that I really struggle with in my life is, you know, taking care of myself first and foremost. So before I read that meditation though, I'm going to read two meditations today actually. The first one is from The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beatty, and that's the self-care one. And the second one, well the first one, first is first, is from Journey to the Heart by Melody Beatty, Daily Meditations on the Path to Freeing Your Soul. So I didn't read the January 1st one yesterday, so I want to read that one today and talk about it a little bit, but then I want to go in here and talk about self-care, because I think that that is kind of going to be part of a theme on this channel going forward. You know, I talked on here the other day about, you know, how much I wanted to talk about manifesting your destiny and The Secret and the law of attraction and things like that. Well, for us to believe that we deserve the best, for us to be able to value our own worth, we have to take care of ourselves, you know? And for me, often, that is slowing down and just like tonight, just sitting around and watching some movies. And I started The Innocent Man last night on Netflix, so I'm like, okay, you know what? I never just sit down and watch a whole series all the way through. Maybe I'll do that with The Innocent Man tonight. So that might be my night, and, you know, I don't know, take a long, warm, hot shower and use all of my Lush products and just, you know, take care of myself and go get some food that makes me feel good. And, you know, I think that that's important to do, you know? So I want to talk about self-care in just a second, because I think that we have to love ourselves enough, that we value ourselves enough to believe that we deserve the best. Okay, so the first meditation, Honor the Beginning, January 1st. Beginnings can be delicate or explosive. Oh. Boo Radley, he wants to be in the video so bad. Hold on just a second. Are you crying? He said, I'm crying, Dad, because I want to be up in the video. Aww. Okay, we're going to read a little bit, okay? Honor the beginning. Beginnings can be delicate or explosive. They can start almost invisibly or arrive with a big bang. Beginnings hold the promise of new lessons to be learned, new territory to be explored, and old lessons to be recalled, practiced, and appreciated. Beginnings hold ambiguity, promise, fear, and hope. Don't let the lessons, the experiences of the past, dampen your enthusiasm for beginnings. Just because it's been hard doesn't mean it will always be that difficult. Don't let the heartbreaks of the past cause you to become cynical, close you off to life's magic and promise. Open yourself wide to all that the universe has to say. Let yourself begin anew. Pack your bags. Choose carefully what you bring, because packing is an important ritual. Take along some humility and the lessons of the past. Toss in some curiosity and excitement about what you haven't yet learned. Say your goodbyes to those you're leaving behind. Don't worry who you will meet or where you will go. The way has been prepared. The people you are to meet will be expecting you. A new journey has begun. Let it be magical. Let it unfold. All parts of the journey are sacred and holy. Take time now to honor the beginning. And I love this meditation. And, you know, it's a lot about like what I was talking about the last 2 days, and that, you know, that you really have to trust your journey. And this is something that's been really, really hard for me through the years, but it's something that I've had so many sponsor, mentors, sister mothers say to me through the years, you know, that you know, like you're on a journey, and your journey is specific to you. And where you are at right now is exactly where you are supposed to be. And I cannot tell you how many times, in times of difficulty and struggle, where I'm like, well, this isn't fair, and that person this, and this person is succeeding, and why am I not, and all this kind of stuff, you know. And in times of difficulty, you know, like, oh, well, I've lost all these people in my life, and, you know, anytime that I do that, I have to remember I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be in my journey. And I tell myself that all the time. You have no idea how many times I tell myself that. I mean, I literally can be driving around in a car and I'm like, okay, right now is exactly where you're supposed to be. You don't understand it right now, and that's okay. But down the road, you will understand that this is where you are supposed to be today. You know, just even like me being sick today and like taking some time to myself. Like I was talking to my husband on the phone. You know, I always said when I got on YouTube, I was going to be a very realistic YouTuber and be like, you know, like show the ins and outs of what like, you know, a couple is really like, because you always see these YouTube couples that are like, oh my God, we're so in love and whatever, you know? So we got into a little bit of a tiff today on the phone because I said, well, I've got to do this and I've got to do that and whatever. And Alex said, I want you to just sit at home and take care of yourself and allow me to help you. And I was like, okay. You know, he's like, you need to just take care of yourself. You need to slow down. And I'm not good at that, right? So those are the kind of arguments we get in today. Nothing that deep. And I'm glad that he cares about me. But I have to be willing to do that. And I have to remember, you know, that maybe I'm sick today so I can learn self-care down the road and I'm better at it, you know? And that's been proven to me in my life, that exactly where I am is exactly where I'm supposed to be. There were a couple things in here that I really, really liked, where it said, don't let the lessons, the experiences of the past dampen your enthusiasm for beginnings. Just because it's been hard doesn't mean it will always be that difficult. Don't let the heartbreaks of the past cause you to become cynical, close you off to life's magic and promise. Open yourself wide to all that the universe has to say. Let's leave that in 2019 or 2018, okay? All of this kind of bitterness and anger that we had from the past and resentment, let's just leave that in the past, right? You know, like to say like, you know, when we go through a horrible breakup, and I, like I say in here, I'm not talking about abusive relationships, okay? Just run-of-the-mill relationships that don't go well. You know, when we're really hurt by it, it's like, well, you know, like, I don't ever want to date again because, like, all men suck or all women are hurtful or whatever. You know, like, those kind of blanket statements just harden our soul and make us cold to the world, and we got to get rid of that. Because you don't know that the very next person that you're going to meet is going to be the greatest friend you ever had in your entire life, or the most incredible, you know, partner or lover that you've ever had. You don't know that, right? Or the best confidant that you've ever had. Excuse me. So it's very important, you know, to keep on getting back up on that horse. Just at the moment when I thought nothing was going to get better, and things couldn't get any worse, and I was so sad, and I just felt like, oh, my world's come to an end, and this relationship fell apart, and I'm never going to be dating again or whatever. You know, something good happened right in that moment. Always something good. Or it'll just go down further and further and further, and then finally I'm like, well, it can't get any worse, and then it gets worse, but then, like, something good happens, you know? And what I've learned through that is my strength. I've learned that I have a lot of strength to endure things, and so do you, and so do you, and you have to remember that. Do not allow your heart and your soul to become hardened to the lessons that you have learned, because then they're not lessons, right? They're just obstacles to your future. If you become hardened or cold to things that have happened in your life, they aren't lessons. You haven't learned anything. They're just obstacles to you having a better future. So I love that. And then I love that it also says in here, you know, that beginnings hold the promise of new lessons to be learned, new territory to be explored, and old lessons to be recalled, practiced, and appreciated. Beginnings hold ambiguity, promise, fear, and hope. I mean, they're scary when we do things, when we start a new job, when we move somewhere new, even just getting in a new apartment, you know, whatever. Like, all of that stuff is really, really scary. And at the same time, like, that's change, and change is good. And like I said on here a video a while back, you know, like, I had to get really used to change in my life, and I've fallen in love with change over time. Change is not always comfortable, but I have learned that change brings new things, and new things brings new opportunities, and new opportunities brings a new way of life, and I like that, you know. And it's hard for me because I'm a person that's very much a creature of comfort, and I like to just do the same things day in and day out, travel to the same places, stay at the same hotels, and all that kind of stuff. But when I step outside that comfort zone, and I challenge myself to do something new, I am always surprised. You know, it's like years ago, like, I did not want to go to a music festival. I was terrified as a person in recovery. I thought it would just be surrounded with drugs. It was something that was very important to my husband to do. He really wanted to go to a music festival. Excuse me. And we picked Ultra Music Festival. He's like, you pick one and we'll go. So we picked Ultra Music Festival in Miami. It's it's now one of our favorite things that we do every year. Like, we wouldn't not go to it, you know? And yet this thing that I was so afraid of going to, like, I literally remember, like, the day we were going and, like, getting ready, and I was just like, I don't know that I can do this. And it wasn't what I expected at all, you know? And I was so pleasantly surprised. And I think sometimes in life it's important to go into things with no expectations whatsoever, you know, and learn from the things that have happened to us in the past. Don't allow them to be obstacles, but at the same time continue to, like, go forward and, you know, learn new things. Allow yourself to have new experiences. Okay, the next meditation is from The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beatty. Melody Beatty, listen, Melody, she gets a lot of attention on this channel. Okay, and it's from January 3rd, Nurturing Self-Care. There isn't a guidebook for setting boundaries. Each of us has our own guide inside ourselves. If we continue to work at recovery, our boundaries will develop. They will get healthy and sensitive. Ourselves will tell us what we need to know, and we'll love ourselves enough to listen. Beyond codependency. What do we need to do to take care of ourselves? Listen to that voice inside. What makes you angry? What have you had enough of? What don't you trust? What doesn't feel right? What can't you stand? What makes you uncomfortable? What do you want, need? What don't you want and need? What do you like? What would feel good? In recovery, we learn that self-care leads us on the path to God's will and plan for our life, or whatever your higher power is, or lack thereof. Self-care never leads away from our highest good. It leads toward it. Learn to nurture that voice inside. We can trust ourselves. We can take care of ourselves. We are wiser than we think. Our guide is within, ever present. Listen to, trust, and nurture that guide. Today I will affirm that I am a gift to myself and the universe. I will remember that nurturing self-care delivers that gift in its highest form. And that's what I was talking about earlier, you know, is that part of us learning to love ourselves, which is, you know, like, I think that should be everybody's mission in 2019, you know, is to love ourselves a little bit more if we don't already. You know, it's always interesting to me, like, whenever somebody criticizes and they're like, well, he really loves himself or she really loves herself. Yeah, I think that's a good thing, right? I think there's a, you know, a fine line between, excuse me, cockiness and confidence, right? But I think to love someone is fantastic. To love someone, you know, love yourself is fantastic. And I think that a lot of people struggle with that. I know that I struggled with that for a very, very long time. And I still do, I think, at times. You know, if I were completely honest, I struggle with really loving myself and always putting myself above somebody else's best interest, you know? I think we think that to be selfless in this world means that, you know, like, we are, you know, to be altruistic and always do things for other people and not tell anybody and be selfless and, you know, like when people say, you know, like, well, I take care of my mother and my 9 kids and I cook dinner for my husband every night and, you know, whatever, and all this kind of stuff. I'm so busy and they don't really do anything. Okay, that's great, right? But you're going to burn out at some point and you need to learn to take care of yourself because you're no good for anybody else if you're not taking care of yourself. Plus, I do think that those relationships should be reciprocal. I really, really do. You know, like, if you're making dinner for somebody every night for 30 years and you never get a thank you, and, you know, you're cleaning everybody's bedrooms and you're doing everybody's laundry and you're taking care of everybody and nobody's saying thank you, I think that's part of it. You know, I think that's part of what hurts, is it's like you're doing all this stuff and, like, nobody's saying thank you to you. And I've had a lot of friends of mine that go through that. You know, they are caretakers, except for they don't take care of themselves. And I think, you know, we have to learn to start taking care of ourselves better. Even if it's just small things, like, you know, I joke about the coffee, but, like, my coffee is something that I get every day that makes me happy. Just the ritual of driving through and getting it makes me happy. That's a little pleasantry that I give myself every day, you know? And there are other things, like, just like my nighttime ritual and my, you know, doing my masks in the morning, my face mask. Those are all forms of self-care. We have to learn to do that, whether it is a 20-minute Calgon bath, you know, or whatever. And I love the comments that I get on my videos when people are like, my kids finally went to bed and I have a half an hour to myself, you know? That is understanding self-care. That is understanding truly that you allow yourself a half an hour before you go to bed to just kind of have time to yourself, to read, to watch a Netflix show, to watch a YouTube video, to take a bath, to whatever, to do all 5 of them at the same time. But I think that we really, really have to learn to start loving ourselves a little bit more, or loving ourselves enough to care for ourselves and take care of ourselves. And I think it's really, really important, you know? And that goes above and beyond just eating healthy, working out, you know, getting enough sleep. All of those things are very, very important. But it goes above and beyond that to treating yourself to just little pleasantries, you know, and they don't have to be expensive things. They don't have to be expensive things at all, you know, just little silly things. You know, one of my favorite things is notebooks, and if you watch my vlog, you know this. Like, I'm constantly, like, buying notebooks at, like, you know, Meijer, Target, Walmart, Dollar Store, whatever, and I have so many empty notebooks, but I love notebooks. There's something about a fresh notebook for me, and I can find them for 50 cents or $1, you know, and I don't have to spend a lot of money on something that makes me really happy, and to me, that's a small form of self-care. So going into 2019, we're going to learn to care about ourselves more. We're going to learn to take care of ourselves more. We're going to let go of the past, and we're not going to let the past be an obstacle to our future. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.